What's up out there? We are back with another entry into my off-the-shelf series, and we're going to take a look at another 4 game demos that are available in Steam's June 2025 Next Fest. I do not know if all of these demos are going to remain available after the Next Fest ends. I know at least 1 or 2 of them are going to be. We do have one game that is going into release here soon, so I have release date and pricing information for that one. A couple of developers reached out, and then the other 2 games I found on my own, just kind of scrolling around through Steam's the Next Fest page. So at any rate, with all that out of the way, let's dive in. The first game we're going to take a look at is a game called Beavageddon. This is developed and published by Crab Bucket Software. The release date is simply 2025. This is a Vampire Survivor style game with various champions, a few different game modes that I've seen so far, like Payload, Control Point, and Demolition. I would say this is fairly similar to a game we looked at not too long ago called Airship's Lost Flotilla, where you've got different champions that you can pick up. They have different abilities, different capabilities, whatever you want to call it. And then you go through, it looks like a passive tree, but it's more of a map with selectable points. And you select which one you want to go to. Some might be more difficult, some might be easier. There's different game types, like I said, Payload, Control Point, and Demolition. And then as you play the game, you can build up persistent buffs that run no matter who you're playing and what game mode you're on. It's a very cool concept. I love these kind of games, and I love how all the different Vampire Survivor style clones have come up. Well, not all, but a lot of the different Vampire Survivor style clones have come up with something unique and different. And I think this one looks fairly unique and different. So this is Beavageddon. It will be linked in the description down below. The second game we're going to take a look at is Loot of Baal. Now, the developer actually reached out and provided me the Steam key. That is how I'm bringing you. I believe I'm playing the full game at this point, but there is a demo up and available. It will be linked down in the description below. This is developed and published by Gleamer Studio. The release date is set for June 16th, 2025, which is a few short days away, priced at $8.99. This is an ARPG idler, and this reminds me a lot of Melver Idle if you had it to where it moved around, like instead of just progress bars sliding across the screen, if you actually had to walk around and do things in town. This is kind of what I would use as a blueprint for what I would want of a 2D version of Melver Idle. But you basically gear up your party, let them idle in combat to level up and get loot. You can sell or dismantle gear. There is the option of hiring NPCs, but they've cost too much for me to try at this point. The only downside, the only thing I kind of don't like about this, this game has got a unique feature in that it sits on the right side of your screen. Now, I believe it's the F5 and F6 key lets you zoom in or out, so you can actually increase or decrease the size of that. It actually scrolls down to characters walking along at the bottom of the screen if you want. I would like to see this as a full screen option, or have an option of full screen, because I feel like the map and everything, I feel like you could put the map and the inventory and everything all on the screen at once. I see what they're going for is an idler that just kind of sits off to the side of the screen and plays, which it does a fantastic job of. You can absolutely do other things on the rest of your screen. But if you've got a second monitor, it'd be cool to have a full screen option where you could just throw this on the second monitor and just play it over there and have it full screen where you can see. And that said, you do kind of get used to the game as you play it a little bit. So I'm ultimately not sure how this would play out if it was full screen. It is a little bit jarring going from other games that have windowed options you can move around to this one that's basically shoved off to the side of the screen where you don't really have any control over it. But very cool looking game. I am very excited to continue playing this and see how it goes. And I don't believe there's offline progress, so you basically want to throw it up on the screen and set it off to the side. But like I said, you can absolutely toss this off on a second monitor or just off to the side while you're doing reading or watching Netflix or whatever it is you're doing. This is Loot of Baal, link down below. The third game we're going to take a look at is a game called Scavland. This is developed and published by No Shadow. The release date is just listed as soon, and this is the only one of these that looks like it's going into early access. This is a Stalker-style 2D survival game, probably similar to Zero Sievert, at least it looks that way, fairly similar to me. I love the art style on this. They The game feels fairly hardcore to play, like you miss a lot when you're shooting. I've fought some enemies I probably should have gone nowhere near, but it seems like you're going to want to spend a lot of time stealthing around or not engaging with enemies, let's just say that. And I just kind of blasted into it to give you an idea of what combat looks like in this game, but it looks very cool. There's a healing components to it, there's looting to it, there's weapons, and all the different ammo and things you would expect to loot in a game like this. Looks fairly cool. I'm interested to see where this one goes. And again, this one will be linked down below. The final game we're going to take a look at is the game called Tolom, which is developed and published by Inkro Games, scheduled to release sometime in 2025. This is a roguelike deck builder. You get a row of cards down at the bottom, and each card has a number of uses. The number of uses can be refreshed in between combat at the vendor there, but basically once you run out of those cards, you're out. And you do have an option of, there's like a little melee option or something like that. You can either use 3 cards, 3 of the same card, 3 different cards, however you want to do that, or you can use like the combat option. There's a heal option where you can heal all, you get 9 lives. And then there is a third option that I don't remember what it is. It's one I didn't use a whole lot of, but basically I was using the cards until I ran out of them. And then I found out there was a melee option, so I started using that once I ran out of my cards. And then as I explored the game a little bit further, I found that there's a shop, and as you beat enemies and collect buttons, you can spend those buttons to repair your gear, to buy new cards, to replenish the cards you've got. So there's different sections of the vendor for buying new cards, replenishing what you've got, and then repairing. I think there's another one in there somewhere too, but pretty much the gameplay loop is you're going to go fight 1, 2, 3 monsters, something like that. As you defeat the monsters, you can go to the store, replenish your cards, fix your suit, buy new cards if you haven't taken any damage. I tend to take a lot of damage and need to replenish my cards, but then you keep fighting more and more difficult fights, collect more. Your run ends when you die, so it's a roguelike. I don't know if there's any long-term progression in it. I don't remember seeing any of that. I feel like everything I was doing was basically going back and forth to the shop in between combat, but that's pretty much the loop of it. I think this has got a very distinct art style to it. The way the monsters are animated, the way everything works together, it feels really good. I don't know when they plan on releasing this game, but it feels extremely polished and solid for just a demo. And I don't know how far the demo goes. I played for a few nodes, and I keep crashing out and dying, but it seems like there's a lot to the demo. If all those nodes are in the demo, there's quite an extensive run of nodes to fight on. But at any rate, this is Tolom. Looks very cool. I'm also very much looking forward to this one. Link to this one will be down in the description below as well. And to close all of this out, all of the games, as mentioned a million times, are going to be linked down in the description below. If you're interested in them, go give them a wish list and keep an eye out for whenever they're going to release. They all look really cool. I like all of them. I'm going to have them all in my library at some point. But that is going to do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.